No.
Yeah. It was inspiring as well because even in the car earlier, you said that, so, you know, you're a shy person, but you put on this kind of almost a character to mask that. But was that exhausting for you in the sense of you'd go out and you would be Keith Duffy, the performer, which is essentially a bit of a character, but then you'd go back and then you could be you?
I didn't realize I was doing that. It's only as I got older and I look back. So when Boyzone broke up at the end of 99, I was always the joker. I was always the trickster and the joker and the funny one. But people don't take you serious when you're that character all the time. And I have a serious side to me. I have a very passionate, sincere side to me. But nobody ever knew that side of me. They just thought I was always the drinker, the partier, the joker. And in the time, in 2000, my daughter was born. Boyzone broke up at the end of 99. When my daughter was about 15 months, 18 months old, my wife and I realized that she wasn't progressing like my son had, who was 4 years older than her. And we worried that there might be a problem. And as weeks and months went on, we couldn't hide or pretend to each other that we didn't notice that there was something not right. And the word autism came into our world and it just suited what we were worried about. It kind of made sense. And that was shocking and upsetting and scary. And I had to grow up very, very quickly, because when I got more information and I educated myself more on the situation at hand, everybody was saying early intervention is essential for the future of your child, but you can't access any services until your child is officially diagnosed by the state. But to get a diagnosis through the state, there was a waiting list of 3.5 years. So that goes back to early intervention is essential. So you're going to waste 3.5 years waiting on a diagnosis before you can access the services that you might need. This is not right. You know, what are we going to do? And my wife and I had to get very busy very quickly educating ourselves on what our daughter needed, joining different parent groups, other parents in the same positions as ourselves, finding out what they had researched and what they knew, what we needed to do. And we needed early intervention. We needed appropriate education put in place at the right time. We might have needed speech and language therapy. We needed all these things and we hadn't a clue where to go or how to go about it. So I had to grow up very, very quickly. I had to get clever quickly. This joker side of me, this loud kind of trickster kind of character, that needed to be parked offside for a while. I needed to kind of be a dad. I needed to be responsible, mature adult and figure out what I was going to do with this little girl. And that's what kind of made me start fundraising and become and being an ambassador for autism and ultimately opening the first school specifically for children with autism, which is ironic. There was 14 sets of parents and we all worked together to try and create this first educational facility for children with autism. But the state funding that we got was only enough money to take on 6 kids, and there was 14 families, so there's 14 kids, and we drew straws. And I was heading up the campaign because I was the one with the familiar face that could make a bigger difference. But all the parents pulled their weight. Everybody worked really hard to get this off the ground. But I was the one forefronting it because I had, like I say, the familiar face. And we picked out straws and we were number 11. So even though we had done all the work and set the school up and got the funding for 1 year, our daughter wasn't accepted into the school because there was only room for 6 kids and she was 11th on the list.
Wow.
So, but we didn't stop. We kept going and we fought and we fundraised. And within 6 months, we expanded the school for 18 kids. So our daughter got in and she went in there then from 8 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was intensive intervention, but we saw results quite quickly. The point of the story is that I had to find the serious side of myself. And when I found the serious side of myself and realized that I'm not a joke, that I am an intelligent human being, that I have got the ability to be able to make difficult decisions and to educate myself and to read and to study and to find out what needs to be done. And I had a whole newfound respect for myself that I didn't have before. And I wasn't demanding other people to have the same respect, but I was asking them to be able to see past the joker the party man, the drinker. There's another side to me. And I didn't know that was there. My daughter has brought that out in me. And it's important for me now for people to respect that and to see that person. I'm not just this guy that's great to go and have a pint with. There's a lot more depth to me. And it was through that process that I realized that I'd been this kind of character, this joker for so many years because I was shy. And I didn't know at the time because I played that character for so long. It just became who I was. But I realized I was a very insecure, sensitive young man that I thought everybody loved me because I'm great fun and I'm a party man. And then when anybody had a real problem and anybody needed to have a friend, I'd be the last person anybody would sit down and talk to because they didn't think I could take anything serious because I was always happy-go-lucky and funny and party man. But there was this whole other side. So when we got back together in 2007 and I was working with all the same people again, and Peter Andre supported Boyzone for years on tour, and we had a friendship. Let's say we knew each other, and we were pals. Sean Maguire was another guy who supported Boyzone, and we were great pals. But when we got back together, and I'd had 7 years with my daughter, and 7 years of growing and worries and pain and tears and upset and emotion, I was a different person. And when I met these people, they didn't see those 7 years. They were expecting me to be the guy that they met back in the 90s. And if they spent enough time with me, they were blown away by this other character that they didn't know existed. And it became very apparent to me how people saw me. And it was important for me, even our TV plugger, the people we worked with in radio, everybody just expected that cheeky chap character that wasn't always funny because I did get it wrong sometimes. Trying to be funny, trying to entertain people. And sometimes I might have come across obnoxious or arrogant maybe, you know? And I realized when I got back into Boyzone in 2007 into 2008 that I thought people just assumed that I had that kind of real, sensitive, honest side to me, but I preferred just to have fun. But they didn't know that side existed. So now it was a challenge for me now to be taken serious. To be taken serious, you can still have the fun, you can still have a bit of crack with the lads and have a beer, but there's a human being there that's a lot more intelligent, sensitive, clever, you know, good. And people were shocked and amazed to understand that there was another side to me, and it wasn't just a happy-go-lucky guy that was hiding his insecurities and hiding his shyness, you know?
Yeah.
And like I say, age and time and having the wisdom of your years allows you to analyze yourself and understand, you know, where your faults and failings are and where your strengths are, you know, and it's up to you then to portray the side of you that you want people to see.